Even if the mountain lion isn't gay enough. Y'all, before we begin, can I talk about the foam that's brewing at the top here? That's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all, here it is. Here it is. I've read 158 books this year. I've chosen 10. I've chosen 10, ranked them for you in order of brilliance. So this is a list of 10 books I've read in 2023. Books that are backlisted from this year, but also from next year too. It's a real treat, let me tell ya. This was an enthralling reading year, and I've had so many good buddy reads, so many good people that I've met through these books, and so much that I've learned from these books. So yes, in this list, this top 10, y'all, I've selected 10 books that have surprised me, reached beyond the limits of what I thought fiction could do, brought some kind of comfort to me, taught me something about myself. It's just doing like really interesting things in fiction. Anyone else do 6 like this? And yeah, it's just like really freaking good. So yeah, here to do some honorable mentions first. So for these, I'll just leave you with a quote and then you can pick at it if you will. Let's start. Death Valley, Melissa Broder. I cross out the word love and write the word is. They are the same word. Love and is, yes. Love and is are the same. To be with, to be there. Of all the love languages, I think the greatest is to be there. The greatest of the languages to be here for, to have been there with. Love. Earth Angel, Madeline Cash. My friends are on Animal Crossing and Club Penguin and have Nintendogs and Neopets and Tamagotchis and all of the simulated animals of 2008. In the US, it's a financial crisis, and I'm reading a book called TTYL by Lauren Miracle, which is the pinnacle of literature as far as I'm concerned. The pastor tells me to read the Bible, which is not written by Lauren Miracle. I imagine Noah's Ark filled with Nintendogs. How to Write an Autobiographical Novel by Alexandra Chee. My job is to make something happen in a space barely larger than the span of your hand, behind your eyes, distilled out of all that I have carried, from friends, teachers, people met on planes, people I have only seen in my mind, all my mother and father ever did, every favorite book, until it meets and distills from you, the reader, something out of the everything it finds in you. Eileen by Atessa Moshfegh. I remember sitting for hours on my bed after that, picturing all of eternity laid out before me. God was, in my mind, a white-haired old man in a robe, presiding over the world, marking papers with red pencil. And then there was my sad, mortal body. It seemed impossible that such a God could care what I did with my little life. But perhaps I was special, I thought. Perhaps he was saving me for good things. YN by Esther Yi. I wanted a passion so totally mine that no one else could possibly have it. So totally mine that if I didn't exist, then the passion itself couldn't exist. I wanted a central yes. Consider the cicadas. There's the droning of the cicadas as a technical phenomenon of sound waves. Then there's the mystery of the noise, its vehement formlessness. Neither of these things can be painted. Those are it. I wish, the last one, YN, really hurt. I really wish it ended up in the top 10, but there are some other books that really did it for me. But y'all, hello, it's your boy Nate. I read books because reading is sexy, and if you're not reading, you're not sexy. Okay? Okay, so 2024, let's get sexy, okay? Pick up a book. All right, at number 10, I have Open Throat by Henry Hoke. Why? Because I love a gay mountain lion. I mean, that mountain lion should have been gayer, but we have a mountain lion up in the Hollywood Hills, comes down, learns about people, goes to Disneyland, and it's just done through this very sparse language, animalistic at nature, and really convolutes the conventions of fiction, where you can finish this in one sitting and still get a lot out of it. It packs a punch. It comes to a very brutal end, very satisfying. In its short form factor and its sort of prose style, I think it's doing really interesting work in how we tackle voice, how we tackle narrative, and how there are still more and more newer narratives and voices to seek out. Even if the mountain lion isn't gay enough. At number 9, I have People Collide by Isle McElroy. We have two writers, husband and wife, who are at the battle of the sexes, but also at the battle of their arts. And one day, just like that, they switch bodies. It is the Freaky Friday of Eugenides marriage plot. But yeah, they switch bodies, and it's this beautiful battle of the sexes to end all battles. Looking at queerism, motions of man, what it means to be a woman, what it means to produce art, and how we produce art, and how the different productions of art come from different places, and how can they meet? How can they overlap? How can they compete less? And how can they just be, and be satisfied with their own being? This is an incredibly emotionally intelligent novel, probably one of the most interesting sex scenes I've read all year. Just does a lot with how we see sex and man versus women differently, and how we can better understand each other. And I always appreciate a book where we can better understand the other side, the other self, and the other sex. Number 8, I have Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. This snuck into my list because every time that I was looking over all the 158 books and choosing from the pile, this just came back with so much tenderness and warmth, but it is one of the better pandemic novels to come out of sort of pandemic writing. And its mother relaying history to her daughters and being very selective about what to tell. And it's really about how do we relay history, and how do we select specific moments that have made us, that have changed us, that have really created an impression upon us. And also, I think it plays with narration, where I think when we think about unreliable narrator, we always think of it as negative. And here, Patchett explores sort of the beautiful wonder and kindness that actually comes from an unreliable narrator. So sweet, hits such a soft spot in me when it comes to family, being able to talk about the past, laugh about it, cry about it, and it's done so beautifully within this portrait. I think Patchett always does an incredible job at portraying family, or the American family. This one's so beautiful. Loved this. At number 7, I have I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. There are books of the time, and this one I think is of 2023. If any of y'all spent way too much time on Instagram, this one will grab you by the neck and choke ya, because it's about a woman who is obsessed with this other man, and then will go on these flings whenever he's in town with this man while she already has a boyfriend of her own. But through this relationship, she realizes that this other man, this dream man, is with an influencer, and she becomes so obsessed with this influencer. It's about obsession, being online too much, and all the nitty-gritty, ugly details of being online, while also being an incredibly strong social commentary on what being online means, and how this specific lifestyle is incredibly systematic. And by the end, it hits you with this great big surprise, this great big commentary that completes the whole novel and creates a very strong narrative of our time. Number 6 is Beautyland by Marie Helen Bertino. This is out January 16th. It's about an alien girl who is sent to Earth to understand the ongoings of human life, and then you realize she becomes less alien and more human. Or is it the other way around? Twee at best. There's a strong indie feel to it in that it's odd, whimsical, wonderful, and sweet, so sweet, in that it's all about girlhood. This one's for the girls. Girls, please pick it up. It's beautiful in that it examines girlhood all the way to womanhood, and it's in this becoming that she experiences so much loss, so much love. It's done with so much attention and care. By the end of the novel, my heartstrings just were pulled at from in all directions, and it just kept going, and I couldn't stop, and then next thing you know, I was crying, and it just took me by so much surprise, beauty, and wonder that really makes me question, like, why am I put on this earth? What am I supposed to be feeling? Like, what am I meant to feel? And with all the feelings that I felt before, have I felt them fully? The voice is refreshing, unique, and this should not be missed. So please pick it up if you do end up reading it. Beautyland, please pick it up. Do it for my heart. Do it for my heart. At number 5, we're getting there, y'all. We're getting there, is Sula by Toni Morrison. Oh my God. You know, there are a few perfect novels out there, and this is one of them. I had the great pleasure of reading this with Katie James, and we had such a spellbinding buddy read. So many good thoughts and ideas, but it's about what the identity of woman and position of woman is meant within community. What is her role? What is she supposed to do? What are her dreams and desires? Can she live up to them? Can she own them? Can she live through them? And in this very short novel, it does so much in terms of landscape, narrative, and voice with so much readability that I think that with every rereading of it, you'll get something new. And I feel that's the way with any Morrison, but this one in particular, I just absolutely adored it within its short form factor and its rich, rich characters. At number 4, I have The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante. Oof! Let me tell you, y'all, when I tell you it's a fever dream, it is a fever dream. Hot, it is sexy, it is bewildering, it is hectic, it is melodrama at its highest form. But I think with Ferrante's incredible prose, it is such a perfect novel in itself about obsession, seeking out love, while also trying to understand your role through family, through wife, and through being a mother. Also has a body of desire. And it's through these different access points that you really understand our narrator, Olga, her unwinding as she is unwound again and again and again, and there's no end. And it's incredibly claustrophobic, and you can feel the heat of the book, and it's dizzying. With so much humor as well. It's through these different balances that Ferrante slides in with humor, drama, and bittersweetness that I think creates an incredible story that is The Days of Abandonment. We have a woman who finds that her husband is cheating on her, and she understands her role as wife, as mother, and as a woman. So, so good. I think a perfect entryway into Ferrante's work, and I cannot wait to read the rest of her work. Oof, God, love this one so much. Number 3, we have a nonfic, y'all. To no surprise, I think, I've selected All About Love by Bell Hooks. I lost a friend, and this swept in at the right time, at the right moment, challenged me, changed me, made me look at all the different ways that I've loved, where I've learned love, and where to go forward with all of this love. I believe that this is required reading for every single human being out there in the ways that we navigate love, in the ways that we're still learning about it, and in the ways that we're not loved. It's for anyone in, out, and around love. And I think anyone who picks this up will learn a lot about themselves, will be called out, and will come out a better person. It's just one of those life-changing books that every person just needs to read. And I'm so, so glad that I read this at the time that I needed to read it. It has brought so much comfort to me in my own understanding of who I am and how I will love. All About Love, Bell Hooks. At number 2, oh my God, we're nearly there. Oh my God. Number 2, Martyr, Kaveh Akbar. Like, how do people talk about their like top 10 books without going overboard? But we have a loser wrought with so much trauma, ends up meeting a performance artist who lives out her last days with cancer at the Brooklyn Museum, and their meeting creates this whirlwind of new information, character changes, and then some. You know, there's a reason why I'm alive. One of the reasons is because of this channel, because of fiction and writing. There have been reasons why I have not wanted to live. This just takes that and turns it on its head and looks at it from a very different idea. I think when we think about trigger warning, about unaliving ourselves, we very much think about the living that we have done. But this tackles that through death. How do we go towards a meaningful death? How do we add it up all together and create this thing called life as experience? With that, and Akbar's prose and the way that the emotional swells occur at the end, there's just moments of emotional resonance that hit me and really sung with me. So it's this really refreshing take on those very certain kinds of books, while also being incredibly beautiful through its language. I've highlighted a bunch of lines in this, and it's a book that I can't stop thinking about, because at the end of the day, I really do think about what parts of my whole have I summed up to relay as a meaningful life, as a wholesome life. And it goes back to those feelings in Beautyland. What feelings have I fully felt? What feelings have I not fully felt? And how can I better fulfill them, create them as full experiences, as full feelings? And this book is just full of full feelings, and that's why I loved this so much. It's not a perfect novel by any means. There are some technical issues with it, but Bias is swinging in real hard and saying that there are beautiful moments, and I hope you too find beautiful moments in this. This is out January 23rd. Look out for it. Last book, y'all, last book. At number one read of 2023. Y'all ready for this? Perhaps no surprise. Number one book of 2023 is, drumroll, and I don't have a physical copy because it's coming. It's right here. Alphabetical Diaries by Sheila Heti. This is out February 6th. 80% of this book was highlighted. And I think that just says it all, truly. What we have are a collection of journal entries, alphabetized from A to Z, from a 10-year span. So within this history, this decade, she has specifically selected certain moments, rearranged them in ABC order, and presents it as a finished work, a finished product. It's within these multiple lines that speak to each other from the past, and these little constant pasts speaking to each other to formulate this book. It's through this gimmick that ends up being not gimmicky at all that Heti continues to deconstruct these forms of writing in order to present interesting ways in how we analyze life, how we look at fiction, how we look at curation, and how we look at the work of the body and the work of the artist, and it's all detailed through here. We see ruminations of how she formed motherhood, how much she is as a person who wants to love so much, falls out of love, needs it, wants it, and tries over and over again to touch it and feel it and have it be this thing that you want to grab and hold on to forever. But it escapes her constantly through the thoughts of children, relationships with others, situationships with the men that she's been with, art itself, wanting to create art, being humbled by other art, and everything. It's life itself, and it's so beautifully done in this book, and I can't wait to have a physical copy and like physically highlight everything, because right now it's just like in my Goodreads notes and stuff, and it's a lot. I love the way that Heti continues to explore what we can do with writing, how we can curate it, and how we can present it. And with every book that she puts out, I'm always utterly in awe and of surprise of what she can do and how she can challenge form. That's why it tops the list, because though I enjoy experimental fiction, this does it with such earnesty, such honesty, that compels, surprises, and is just, in the end, beautiful. It's a life that is not beautiful, but presents it with so much beauty, because that's it, right? We want so much to present our lives with so much beauty. We want to relay that to friends and family, to strangers, be it on like an Instagram feed, Facebook story, anywhere. It's just like, we want beauty. We're always after beauty, and here, beauty is formed by having these sentences, these moments of the past in lines, in simple sentences, just speaking to each other, forming this finished product. I could go on and on about how much this book means to me, but I'll end it here. That is top 10 of 2023. Let me know what your favorite read of 2023 was. Let me add it to my TBR. I love adding books that have moved you, books that have changed you, books that have made you see the world differently. Love adding any of those works to my TBR. So yes, again, everyone, thank you for being here. I enjoy your presence. Your words mean plenty, and truly, thank you for being here. And I can't wait to see what 2024 has in store for all of us with a very good reading year, I hope, for all of you. So with that, as always, be well, do good work, keep in touch.